This is Emily Taylor, live in my studio. It is, what is the date, Amelia Bedelia?
26.
April 26th, 2001. 2021. 2021. Okay. Holy cow, I'm in a time warp. Thank you for those of you who are joining me. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comment section and I will get to your questions. This is just a time for me to share what I'm working on. Hello, Angela from Costa Rica. It's great to have you with me. Okay, so I'm just going to share a little bit about how my creative challenge is going. This 30-day creative challenge that I began at the beginning of April has kicked my butt, and I have learned so much. So I'm going to just kind of recap some of the things that I've learned and share the things that I'm working on. Hi, Sylvie from Canada and Betty from Florida. Great to have you joining me. Good morning, Vicki. Okay, so when I started out this challenge, as an artist, I just have wanted to push myself a little bit and learn a few things and feel like I'm improving. And I feel like I've accomplished those things. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. Oh, let's see. Amelia said, my mother's name was Amelia and her name is Amelia.
Well,
that's very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Amelia. Anne from South Africa. Welcome. This is awesome. I love seeing where everybody's from. This is really fun. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so this challenge has been really, really good for me. Remember when I started out, I said I expect to have kind of this 70-20-10 rule. And that was 70% of what I would produce would be kind of mediocre, so-so, average. 20% would be not so good, and then 10% would be magnificent. And I haven't counted things up. I need to kind of count up everything that I've done. And Martine from France, great to have you. So I think that's probably really close. So I'm going to tell you a few things about what I've learned. Number one, I've learned don't work when I'm tired. I think I've explained that one before. The other thing too I've learned is to just, don't get too anal or myopic on one section or one thing that I'm working on. Just get it done and move on. Take what I learned from those mistakes or from whatever it is that I don't like and move on. And then the other thing, one of the other really important things I've learned is that if I'm doing something that I love, that's just totally because I want to do it, that seems to be when I'm producing my best work. So if you have followed me on social media at all, you've kind of seen the progression, what I've been doing, and I'm just going to give you kind of a recap. So you'll remember that I did the crab and the beetle. The beetle was like, oh, I love, love, love that beetle. And I had so much fun with that. So last week when I was really struggling, trying to figure out what to do, I dove in on these bugs. And I can't remember if I had this done last week or not, but so I started in on the bugs again because I had a lot of fun and I felt like it turned out really successful. It was really turned out really good. So I have been purchasing images on iStock and just photographs, and just again wanted to challenge myself. Nothing too big, but big enough because it has to be big enough that I can have fun with the collage. That's the thing. If it gets too small, I can't use enough fabrics. So anyway, I'm really happy with this little ladybug. And of course I chose Ladybug because that's my daughter's nickname. She's always been my ladybug, haven't you, Amelia?
Yes.
Yes, she says. Okay,
I love
so
it when we're in public in a store and you'll yell across the store, ladybug.
I don't know if you heard that. Amelia said, I just love it when we're in a store and I yell across the store, ladybug. She's an adult now and she's not so not so keen, but she's my ladybug. So there we go. There's a ladybug. And then after the ladybug, I was super excited about that. And then I did my frog. I love my frog. So let me show you the original photos that I used. I did purchase the photos. I'm not swiping them. So that's that one. And then here's the frog. Well, let's see if I can get it on the screen. There we go. I love it. I just think it turned out so fun. One really fun thing I've kind of learned about doing the frog and other things. So you'll see in this picture, a frog has pretty specific coloring. He's got these little dots and he's got some stripes. And rather than make myself crazy trying to replicate those, I kind of have learned, let the fabric just add the extra little interest, because the fabric that I selected, look at it. I mean, it's just got a lot going on in there. So I don't need to replicate every single detail. I can just kind of focus on the main points, and the main points are, where are the transition areas, where are the shadows, where are the highlights, and get the colors right. So that's been a really good experience for me to kind of learn and work on, and I could not be more thrilled with this frog. And I used the Inktense pencils a little bit on the eye, and the eye turned out great. I'm really happy with that, and it was surprisingly very simple. So there's that, and then here is my most recent, this little goldfish. Again, I used the Inktense. I'm not entirely satisfied, so I think I might go back in and kind of fuss with this eye just a little bit, but maybe not. Maybe I'll just set it aside and keep moving forward. So I have another critter that I'm working on that I'm going to start today that I've selected. And I want to tell you kind of, this is a secret, what I'm going to do with these. So you may remember that I've been really kind of struggling with composition and figuring out how I'm going to do a composition and how I'm going to incorporate these into a composition. And to be honest, I don't really know how it's going to finish, work out. But I have been inspired by, so I got the latest edition of American Quilter, and there was a really great article about Janet Stone and her alphabet quilts. And I mean, look at these quilts. Look at that quilt. It is just gorgeous. And she's amazing. And I was just enthralled with these alphabet quilts. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to turn these animals into an alphabet quilt and hope that someday I have grandchildren and this quilt can go to one of my grandbabies. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm not going to put a deadline on myself. I'm not going to promise that it becomes available as a pattern. I'm just not going to do that right now. For this, these critters are just for me to have fun, and I can set them aside if I want to and work on them later. So eventually, yes, I will make them available and I will do some tutorials about it. In fact, I would love your feedback. I am thinking about doing a live workshop in Midway, Utah next year. So I live in Sandy. Midway is a beautiful little mountain village not too far from where I live. And I am wondering if there's interest, if people would be interested in coming and joining me in Midway for a workshop next summer in 2022. And I think we would kind of then focus on these animals for the animal quilt. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, I should sometimes keep my mouth shut, but that's, I would like your feedback. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I also would like to give a shout out to my cute friend, Heidi Profity, who, she is an amazing art quilter. You will probably know her by her mosaic quilts. She's won big awards. She's been featured in magazines, and she is a darling, sweet person. And she and I have become friends over Facebook. And that's one of the great things about social media, that she and I have been able to connect. And when I had a total hip replacement last month, and I was out of commission recovering, and Heidi was so cute. She is a beekeeper, and she sent me a jar of her homemade honey, and she sent me these little tweezers that I absolutely love, and I've been using them all the time for these collage projects, right? So if I need to fuss with things, these have been perfect. So I just want to give a shout out to Heidi and say you can buy these on her website. It's HeidiProfity.com. And I'm going to be purchasing them wholesale from her, and I'll make them available on my website as well, because they are my new favorite thing. So thank you, Heidi, and I hope you're watching, and I appreciate your friendship and kindness towards me. So anyway, that's kind of what's been going on with me. Amelia, is there anything? Oh, we also got a big shipment of fabric. We've got a lot of pink, a lot of blue, and a lot of new greens. Is it right? We've got 3 boxes. We're expecting a few more boxes to get our bundles rounded out. So just remember that we do have those that we're working on. We hand curate and cut and package those for you. So that's coming along. That was kind of fun to get that shipment this week. And can you think of anything else that is new and interesting?
Webinars.
Oh yeah, the webinars. That's another thing. So also this past week, I did launch the Pretty Potted Pansies pattern. Say that 50 times. The pretty purple and pink.
Potted pansies.
Potted pansies, but they're purple and they're pretty too. So anyway, this is a new pattern that we have just launched, and that is available for pre-order on my website, collagequilter.com. And I will be teaching a webinar about making this project. So you can sign up for that on my website if you're interested. And the seating is limited. It's a one-time thing. I don't know if I'll offer it more. I am loving the virtual classes, and I'm starting to teach more and more virtual classes, and I really, really enjoy it. So so next month, we've got this one, we've got the orchid pattern, and then we'll do a quilt along in the Collage Quilter Academy Facebook group, where we have some giveaways. I think we'll be giving away probably even a kit of fabric for that one, and patterns and books and all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, I hope you'll join me with that. And yeah, so that's what's up with me. I would love to know what's up with you. Let's take a look at the comments and questions. And if you have any questions for me specifically, go ahead and type them in, and we will connect. Okay, so let me just take a look. Amelia, are you seeing? Amelia's monitoring as well questions to see if there are any. Diane from Pennsylvania, Penny from Idaho, Laura from Costa Rica. So that's 2 people from Costa Rica. Amy, great to see you. Amy, I recognize you from Instagram. So isn't it fun that we can create these friendships over social media. I love it. Okay. Let's see. Thank you for the kind comments. Okay. Oh, Germany. Heike. There you are again. You've joined me for a couple of these. Thanks for joining me. Oh, Cheryl just had a great, she just said, love your bugs. I drive a Beetle that's green and I call it my June bug. I have a little niece that I call my June bug. So maybe that will be my June bug. Victoria
and my cat is my June bug.
Oh yeah, and I'm a grandma to her
gosh.
kitty cat that's a June bug. She has a kitty cat. Victoria from Northern Germany. Wow, great to have you guys. Okay, so let's see. So we have a few people that might be interested in signing up for a live workshop that would be a multi-day workshop. And I promise you, we're kind of looking into that, getting some hotels. If you've ever heard of the Homestead, it is a beautiful, historic, charming place. I think that's where we'll hold our event, and it will be a multi-day event. And so what I'll do is this week sometime I'll get kind of a sign up about, so if you're interested, you can sign up and I will let you know what the details are as we kind of pull this thing together, because I can't do it if I don't have enough interest, but if there's interest, then we'll do it. So it sounds like we've got a few people that would be interested, and I would love it too, because here's another funny thing about the town where the little village where I want to hold this workshop. My sister-in-law is the mayor up there. And so anyway, and there's fun, there's golf, there's hiking and biking, and just, it's beautiful. It is a charming place. So I think it would be a fun event. And I know how to party, so I'd love to have a party with all of you. Betty just said she's going through a hip replacement right now. Oh, Betty, I wish you all the luck and quick recovery. I just went to my doctor today and I'm doing pretty good. I walked 5 miles on Saturday, but then that put me in my bed. I paid the price for that long walk, but I wish you well, Betty. Okay, let's see. Here's a question for us.
When doing flowers, where do you start, foreground or background?
Okay, so somebody just asked, when doing flowers, do I start on the foreground or the background? That kind of depends on what it is. For example, we've got 2 flower quilts in the background right now, and they're made very differently. So this one was made using my parchment pressing technique, and I think I probably would lay out the shadows first and then the highlights, and then move towards the midtones, if I remember correctly. This one is made on a foundation panel, and I can't remember. I'm sure I did the green leaves first, and then did the flowers. So, but again, using Steam and with these little tweezers that Heidi gave me, it's really easy to tuck things under if they should go underneath. And I don't know if I answered your question very well. I apologize for that, but just start where you want to start. Start where you have fun. Maybe lay down the shadows first. Other questions, Amelia? Oh, I see one. Linda asked, will there be a blue heron pattern?
It's not in the book.
You know what? We have a crane.
Oh.
Do you want to grab the book or grab the aviary quilt? I think it's sitting up there, Amelia. I think it's folded. So I'm going to show you what I have that's available in my new book that's called Take Flight.
Do you want me to hold it?
Yeah, come over here and hold it up. So it's not a heron, but it's very similar looking. It's actually a crane. So this bird right here is in the book. So I don't know if that helps you or not, but there you go, Linda. Oh, thank you. Somebody said that they've purchased several fabric bundles and they are great.
Someone asked if there's a time frame for when these new bundles will be ready.
Is there, Amelia? It's up to you.
It's up to
We're expecting a shipment from Hoffman to get here.
Probably in the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
So we're gonna check on where our shipment is from Hoffman, and then because we've got some batiks coming from them, and then it's a matter of how quickly our next bundles can be available depends on when we get our next order and how hard Amelia works to cut them and put them together.
They take kind of a long time to put together.
They're kind of labor intensive, so we'll try and get them done ASAP, but give us a week or two to hopefully get those. So Lynn just asked a really great question. She said, would you explain iStock? iStock is a website. There are multiple websites like this that provide, you can buy a license to purchase artwork or digital illustrations or photos. And so iStock has, I have I pay $300 a year or something like that to access photos. And it's not cheap, but then the photographer is compensated and I can use them for my personal use. And then I think you can also buy an extended license too. So anyway, it's licensed. It's a platform where you can buy licensed stock photos. So that's what I've been doing. So I hope that answers your question, Lynn.
How many layers do you let build up on any one project?
Okay, great question. So somebody just asked, how many layers do I build up on any one project? Let me show you the most that I would ever do. So I generally, except for the eye, I generally don't layer fabric very much. So the eye is just easier that way, eyes, I should say. But when I'm collaging, I am trying to so I've got my foundation panel. Actually, let me just pull this away and I'll give you a quick demo, okay? So here's my cactus pattern. This is one of my cotton foundation patterns. When I'm working on this, the idea is to overlap just enough so that I cover the background. And that means, mostly it's just one piece over another piece of fabric. So for example, if let me see, where are my scissors? Come on. Amelia, will you help me see if I can find my scissors? They're probably sitting around here. Okay, well, anyway, if you can find them, that would be great. Okay, she found them, and I'll just do a really quick demo about kind of my process and how I work. So I'm working on this little section. Let me move that. All right, so what I've got right here this is a mid-tone. This is the number 3 value set, and I recommend that people work in value sets. So here's another, demonstration. So what I'll do is I'll just cut kind of a random piece of fabric. I'm not super fussy about the way I cut things. And then the goal is to just make it fit. So all I do is make that piece fit. It's a little bit like doing a puzzle, but I can cheat. So it's actually easier than doing any puzzle you've ever done. So there. So the overlap that we see there's a little bit of overlap right there, and there's a little bit of overlap right there, and there might be a smidgen of overlap where there's 1, 2, 3 pieces on the foundation. So at very most, there are a few areas where there might be, an overlap of 3 pieces. Mostly it's 2. Okay. But the majority, and especially if the pieces are bigger, it is that right on top of the foundation. So the idea is to kind of just, cover the foundation, but I can cheat and make sure that all the edges are overlapped like this. Never butted up against each other, just overlapped. Okay, so any other questions, Amelia, that you see?
Is that a drafting table?
Yes, somebody asked if this is a drafting table. This is a drafting table that I have put coasters or casters on so that I can slide it around my studio. And it's not a huge expense. I think it was $200, $220, $250, something like that. I got mine at World Market, didn't I?
Yeah, we have the same one on our Amazon shop though.
We have an Amazon shop and we've got the same one on that. I don't know how to find the Amazon shop. Is the link on our website?
If you go to our blog under our favorite products, that's
Okay.
where you can find our Amazon shop.
So we have a blog on collagequilter.com and there's a post on there that talks about my favorite products and it has this drafting table. Now on the drafting table, I also have a piece of foam core. It's a 1/4 inch piece of foam core that's, kind of spongy, a little bit spongy. And then that is covered with felt. The sponginess allows me to stick pins into it. And I kind of just have it set up here on my drafting table, kind of taped in place. The pins allow me to, stick, or the foam allows me to stick pins into it. And then the felt protects the foam from my iron. So if I ever need to iron a little piece on here, I'm not going to burn the foam core. So that's a little bit about my setup here. That's very, very helpful. I really like that. In addition, I do have foam core. Oh, I just found my scissors, Amelia. So I do also have another small piece of foam core. So it can be really any size. And you can see I've just added, just taped the felt on it. The other nice thing about it is, or it might be, I don't know if you might consider it messy, but if I pull a piece of fabric off, I can set it aside for using it in a different section of a collage that I'm working on. So the felt it's kind of a nice surface to work on. Okay, any other questions that you can see, Amelia?
Is that steam-a-seam on the back of the fabric?
Yes, so I have kind of transitioned. I started out using glue, tacky glue, and then I kind of transitioned to permanent fabric glue, and I am currently in love with light steam-a-seam 2. And the reason that I love it is because it sticks temporarily. I love that quality. So you see all of these are stuck on here temporarily, and I can just easily peel something off if I'm not happy with it and move it around. So for that reason, I really like the light steam-a-seam 2. It is kind of spendy, so I have some tricks about making sure that you're efficient in your use of steam-a-seam. But and then again, light steam-a-seam 2 is my preference. You choose what you like. There's no right or wrong as far as adhesive, but that's kind of what I have landed on right now. I really, really like that. I really like the qualities that it has. So yeah, that's what I use. Amelia, are there other questions?
Will the parchment method work on a foundation panel like the horse pattern?
Oh, okay. So somebody just asked, and this is interesting. I just responded to an email too where somebody asked the same question. So I have 2 methods of creating a collage quilt. One is using a foundation panel. My foundation panels are designed for your fabric pieces to be applied right to this foundation panel. And then the other method that I have is this parchment pressing method. Those patterns like the horse or adoration that come with a foundation panel are not designed to be used with parchment pressing. So I wouldn't mix the two. Those that are parchment pressing, I've created them as parchment pressing patterns. They're just different than a foundation panel. So if you want to, you'll find that using a foundation panel is super, super easy. It's the easiest thing you can do. It's really fun. It's a little bit like paint by number. But if you're concerned about not being able to use it again, then take a piece of fabric and trace it out. So you have trace the design out before you cover it so that you have another use out of the pattern. So that's what I recommend. I don't recommend using the parchment paper. I recommend using your foundation panel the way it's designed to be used, by applying the fabric directly to it. Okay, so more questions. Any more questions?
What Inktense pencils do you recommend?
Oh, somebody just asked, what Inktense pencils do I recommend? So I'm having a lot of fun with these, the Derwent Inktense pencils. Amelia, are these on our Amazon store?
I'm not sure. They're not all out.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure that these are on our Amazon store, and because I do recommend these. These are really, really high quality, very nice, and this seems to be a good amount. So this is a set of 24. Let me just show you what's in there. So I have had good success with this. I think this is a good assortment. So I do recommend these, and I'll put these, I'll add those to my Amazon store. Okay, other questions?
Steam-a-seam on the horse? Oh wait, or glue.
Okay, so somebody just asked, should they use Steam-a-seam on the horse or glue? Here are my thoughts about that. I think I used Steam-a-seam. Again, I really like the properties of Steam-a-seam. However, it is expensive to cover an entire collage quilt. Do you want to pull the horse up too while we're talking about the horse? But glue is less expensive for sure by a lot. And glue also has another quality that Steam-a-seam lacks, and that is that glue will allow each piece to fray a little bit. And when you're making an animal like the horse, you might want that texture. So I used glue on my grizzly, and it's hanging down in my son's bedroom, but it's kind of got a little bit of fuzz to it, the grizzly, and I really, really like that. I think that was a good choice to use glue on my grizzly. This, again, if you want that little bit of texture, glue might be a good option. So let me just tell you real quick how I would use the glue. The fastest way to use glue is just to, cut your pieces, glue, and apply, but you might not feel comfortable doing that. It might be easier to work on one section at a time and just pin each piece in place. And when you're satisfied with it, then go back and apply glue. Now that gets a little messy and it's a little laborious, but that's how you work with glue on an advanced art quilt. Thanks, love. You can go hang that up. So those are my thoughts about using glue versus a fusible web. Let's see here. Let me see if, somebody said, hi, sorry to hear no new pattern works until next year. Well, actually, I think I misspoke or you misunderstood. So this particular pattern, I'm just going to do that at my pace. I will be launching other patterns. I am working on other patterns that are designed to be patterns, but this one is kind of just for me, for the fun of it. So don't fret. I will have new patterns available coming out. Okay, so Amelia, are there other questions or comments?
I'm just linking. Let me see.
Okay, she's just checking. We're going down through questions. Oh, we've got our friend from Dubai and Edmonton and Belize. Great to have you. This is so fun.
Here's a question.
Okay, so here's another question.
If you were to use a piece of fabric to trace the foundation pattern, what type of fabric would you recommend?
Okay, so someone said, if you were to use a piece of fabric to trace the foundation panel, what kind of fabric would you use? I would recommend just a light 100% cotton sheeting or poplin. That's what this is. It's just a very fine weave, nice lightweight cotton. And you could, you know what, I really love the art gallery weight fabric. Their cotton quilting fabric is just, ooh, it's buttery and yummy. And I've used that before to trace things on their fabric. So I would recommend that. And it might even be fun too, to trace on a color. That's something that I'm doing right now as I'm working on another project. It's not ready to share, but I'll work on it this week and I'll share it next week. Okay. Any other questions?
What kind of glue? What brand of glue do you?
Do you want to go grab those glue? Okay, so talking about glue, I'll show you what kind of glue I recommend and tell you a little bit more about these different glues. Okay, so Aleene's Tacky Glue is the water-soluble glue that I've used. Now, Tacky Glue, so this is the same type of glue that kids used to eat in kindergarten. So it's non-toxic, but it's extremely sticky. It's very thick and sticky. So when you're using this glue, you need to be sure to smear it around the edge of each piece, so that there aren't clumps of glue. This Fabric Fusion is also really nice. I really like this glue. This is much thinner than this glue, and so you won't need to smear it. You'll just apply a thin bead of glue around this. Be careful using this to have a rag, because it does not, if you wipe it on your clothes, it won't come off. This will. So you're not going to ruin your clothes if you wipe your clothes with this, but this will ruin your clothes. I know from personal experience. Okay. Other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it seems like we have, someone asked if we brought an RV, is there a camping area close by? Yes, there is a beautiful campground called Wasatch Campground in the Wasatch Mountains. So I think in the sign up form, I will ask, or I want you to let me know, and so we can reserve camp spots too up there.
Here's another question.
Okay, here's another question.
Is there a white in the ink tents?
Yes, there is white in the ink tents. So someone asked if there was white in the ink tents. Yes, there is. I have not used it very much, if at all. I'm trying to think if I've used the ink tents. No. Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't use the ink tents, the white on that. Obviously using white, you'll have to practice with it to see what the effect is on different colors underneath it, different fabrics underneath it. Other questions?
Is the macaw pattern available on your website? Is that like a raven?
The pattern, the kind of the parrot right here. No, not the parrot is not available yet. I'm going to include that parrot. It's going to be P for parrot. So it will be available. It's not available yet. And there you go. So yeah, I actually am working on another parrot as well. So I will probably launch them as a pair. Okay, other questions, Amelia?
I don't see any.
Okay. So Teresa asked the amount of overlap with each piece of fabric. So my kind of general rule is at least an 1/8 of an inch up to a 1/2 inch. So that's the range that things will overlap, and you'll see that changes because sizes of fabric are different. So that's about how much I overlap each piece, 1/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going down to make sure. Do you see any other questions, Amelia? Okay. Yes, Patty said we can cover the foam core with flannel. Absolutely. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Amelia, for putting the link in there about our Facebook shop. Okay, so I think I just want to also make this one comment. So in the Facebook group, this live video is streamed every Monday at 11 o'clock Mountain Time to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and the Collage Quilter Academy Facebook group. So I would love to have Facebook is giving me a little tip. It says invite your Facebook audience to connect their Facebook to restream to show their name and profile picture. So I don't know, whatever. If because I see your name if you're on YouTube, and I see your name and picture if you're on my Facebook page, but in the group I don't see your name and Facebook profile. So if it matters to you, connect it with Restream, because Restream is the platform we're using to connect to all those different platforms. Okay, well, I think time's up. This has gone a little longer than normal. I apologize for those of you who don't have the time to spend watching. But anyway, thank you again for joining me. We will be back next week, next Monday, same time, 11 o'clock, Monday morning and Mountain Time. And if you have questions, collect them, and I will be ready to share with you some new information and new projects that I'm working on. So thanks again for joining me. It's great to see all of you. Have a wonderful day. Please continue to stay safe, stay healthy, and we will talk again